So take that joke back.
Right, best behaviour.
Yeah.
Stop smiling, Carol. Right, best behaviour.
Yep.
Right, we've got one person watching, which is, it's me. It's me on my iPad.
You know how with Facebook, you can only see, I think, the number at any moment in time that are watching.
Yeah.
Whereas on the YouTube,
It's
you
got a
can
graph,
see
hasn't
the cumulative number.
Yeah.
And do you know on that August, I mean, how many of them are Steve checking the minutes? I don't know, but on the August parish council meeting, it's up to 50 now. I can't believe that.
Mm.
I think there'll be about 4 of them or 5.
Yeah, well, I'll probably be a couple.
Soon be as big as Netflix, won't we?
Yeah.
It's coming.
Cineworld, here we come.
What do you want? What do you want?
I'll cancel my membership.
Right. We are right. We've got one user group voting member, 3 parish councillors voting members, and 2 non-voting members.
Well, I think I can vote if John
Yeah,
Keane
you can
doesn't
vote
turn up.
in lieu of John Keane. Yeah.
I'm an alternate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's now 7 o'clock. So I reckon. So just let me check. Yeah, it's 19:01. So I think we'll declare the meeting open. Right. I haven't received any apologies for absence, although I think Tony Rice wrote to you, Steve, didn't he?
He wrote to me saying that he apologised about not coming to the last meeting.
Yeah.
But I don't think he sent apologies of not coming to this meeting.
Mm.
In that case, we'll have to gag Phil.
Right.
Hi, John.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Good
How are
evening.
you?
Right, John. Careful, mate. The world is watching us.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
Until 8 o'clock when Liverpool kick off.
correct.
Suddenly you find an excuse to be elsewhere, won't you, Dave?
I think I'll have to use a bit
Sure
of
I won't.
meeting management to try and waste time.
How many? Oh, come on. We support Luton. We have to, the way our team's playing. My
Well, you
God.
supported MK, John.
I do.
You do, sort of.
And we've got 1 point. It can only get better.
We've got lots of bad points.
I think you'll find there's no point, John.
Oh, I
We've
see.
got-
Okay.
We've got 5 people actually watching us now.
Oh, we better stop talking about football then.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So the meeting starts. We have not at the moment received any apologies for absence.
I'll just flick over, have a look.
Yeah. So I assume that Tony will be
Oh.
joining us. Does anybody in the meantime have any declarations of interest in any of the items on the agenda?
No.
No.
Okay. Matters 3.1 is to agree the minutes of the general meeting of the 21st of September as a true record. They look fine to me, apart from Tony Rice's apologies for absence not being recorded.
I'll record that.
Yeah. So the people who were here last week, would somebody like to propose and second? Right, John propose and Dave seconds.
Okay.
Matters arising, I think most of the matters arising are going to be dealt with tonight.
Mhm.
Okay, 4.1, to receive updates from village groups on their intentions to restart usage of the hall. The 100% of the user groups have accepted the COVID special rules and filled in the forms and everything. And the actual user groups, none of them at the moment plan to start before the new year at the very earliest. Apart from the school, who will be starting their gyms on Monday and Friday afternoons after the October half-term holiday. We have had a new booking children's drama class, which they're doing a trial run on Thursday, and then they're going to be doing Tuesday afternoons for 2 hours to see how it goes. And the Sunday school have also booked an hour on Sunday mornings, and they had their first meeting on it last Sunday. So apart from those and a choreography practice, who've booked the whole twice, that's all the bookings that we've had, I'm afraid.
Can I just make a point, Russell? And
Yeah.
this is, I think it's leading on to what we're going to be talking about later. And appreciating that the village hall is a community hall and is well worth paying for. But I think we'll find, and I think we've come to the conclusion that for every hire of an hour, it is costing us money. So on that basis, should we be accepting bookings for people outside of the parish?
Well, that's going to be, I think, dealt with later on. The Sunday school have agreed that they will sanitize before and after themselves, so they don't need a cleaner.
Okay. No, I mean, Sunday school obviously are
Yeah.
a part of the community, but I'm just making the point, and maybe it's better made later.
Yeah.
That perhaps bookings from outside of our community we ought to put on hold until it's cost effective to actually run them.
In actual fact, bookings from outside the community are £13.50 an hour, and it costs £12.50 to sanitize the hall. It takes basically about an hour to do that. So basically,
sorry, when did it go to 13.50?
I think it's 13.50, isn't it? The rate of bookings for
£11. It's £11, I think.
No, it's I think it's more than that. Without looking at the booking form,
okay, well, just lodge that one for the moment.
The discounted rate for the village is a lot less than that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So does anybody have anything else to say about the intentions to restart using the hall? So I know, Keith, you're not planning anything in the near future, are you?
No, we had looked at it because we had some new rules through from the English Short Map Bowls Association, and they've got a set of guidelines that we've got to follow, which roughly mimics what you've got for Village Hall anyway. But subsequent to the latest news, they basically said, really, we can only play with 6 people. Well, you know, it's just not worth our while. So, and most of them, as said before, most of our people are in the vulnerable category, so they probably wouldn't come anyway.
Yeah, that goes the same for you, Carol, as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it does go the same for me, unfortunately.
And Pilates.
Yeah, Pilates.
Yeah.
And yoga as well, I presume.
Well, I don't know what their age groups are.
Yeah.
The 6-person rule, coupled with what Keith was saying, all makes total sense to stave off. But I am aware that Hanslope Village Hall has got quite a few bookings for various organisations.
Well, I would say that some of the bowls players that play with us have actually been playing at Wolverton.
Oh.
But I think that was, again, before the latest restrictions came in.
Was that indoor or outdoor?
No, it was indoor.
Indoor.
In the old Scouts building next to the bowls club.
Yeah.
And they had, you know, quite a number, and that's what made us think that maybe we could have started up again. But as I say, subsequently the rules have changed again,
Mm.
And so we said now we'll just leave it till after Christmas and see what happens.
Hello.
Anna,
Sorry.
that's all right.
Right. We're currently on 4.1, which is updates from village groups and hirers on their intentions to restart usage of the hall.
Okay.
I did try to explain our situation, but you can probably do it better.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So you wanted me to speak? No. Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm, yeah.
go ahead.
So yeah, I've come to kind of final conclusion that I'm going to wait at the moment for the hall, just to not put anyone at risk. Basically, I just can't quite like live with the idea of potentially people wanting to do it and then coming, and it's just stressing me out too much. So yes, for the time being, until cases start going the right way again. Yeah.
John was saying that Hanslope have got quite a few bookings, but I think their interpretation of the rules is not correct. I don't see how they can have all these bookings
Yeah.
for more than 6 people.
And I'm wondering how, John, when you said they're doing choir practice there.
Yeah, I think I've got a query on that one, but I think generally, I mean, the hall is run by a retired doctor, and I mean, he's pretty shrewd. I think also they have a huge advantage over us in so much as the hall is much bigger, and so social distancing is easier to achieve, although difficult for them.
Well, don't they?
And they've got more rooms. So I think that, yeah, that probably works for them, and it probably wouldn't work for us. But I think
Can't you do choir practice on Zoom?
I'm not sure, Dave. I'll step back on that one. I have seen choir practice on Zoom.
Well, I'll start
I don't
saying
know
that
whether
you do, John.
I don't know whether Pilates or yoga or any of those exercises are done. Perhaps Anna knows. Do you?
No, what? Sorry.
Whether Hanslope Hall have any Pilates or yoga or anything in there?
Do you know what? I don't know. I'm not sure whether Hanslope does.
Okay.
The thing with Pilates is there's so much breathing, and no matter, even because people don't have masks, even if they're spaced out, you're filling a room in cold environment in winter. If it was summer, it'd be different, I think.
Of course.
But just the fact we're going into winter, I just think it's just no point putting people at a risk. And the age group of my class is just not, it's not, sorry, Sheila.
Thank you, Anna.
Not including Sheila, of course, but just on the whole, it's just not, I don't want to, yeah.
We're all vulnerable.
Yeah, everyone's vulnerable. It doesn't matter on the age, but yeah, it's just high risk. What we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Personally, I
so
respect all those decisions. They all make total sense in the current climate.
Yeah.
I think until things start to improve, basically, we're not going to get, any regular bookings and things. Certainly, as far as the Historical Society is concerned, I wouldn't want to start again. Even watching films, I think, is,
Oh, good point. Yes, you're right.
And certainly having a speaker speaking at the audience, and the audience speaking at the speaker as well, is a recipe for disaster as well.
No, I've put them all on hold. I have been contacting those, so I've put them all on hold.
Right. Okay. The next item 5.1 is to nominate a new voting member of the Village Hall Committee to replace the preschool. The constitution of the committee is that there shall be 3 parish councillors and 3 voting members of user groups representing all the user groups, plus non-voting members from the user groups as well, who can have a say but can't actually vote. At the moment, the Bowls Club and the Youth Club, that's now the groups with who are who book the hall the most, are the only two groups that we have. I spoke to Julie Baldwin. The school is the 3rd largest booker of the hall, because they have their gyms sessions on Mondays and Fridays. And Julie Baldwin said that she'd be very happy to become the third voting member on behalf of the school. And she unfortunately can't make it tonight. So Steve, I'm sorry. Could you record her apologies for absence? I forgot that she couldn't make it.
Yep.
So I would propose then that we nominate Julie Baldwin from the school and or a replacement if she can't make it from the school. I would propose that. So do we have a second?
Yeah.
All those in favour?
Right. All agreed.
Voting members. That's unanimous. We also discussed last week finding a replacement booking clerk because Sarah's is going to stop doing it shortly because she's it's basically to spend more time with her family because she's looking after her grandchildren much more frequently. So she's
Actually, sorry, Russell, that was another apology. Sarah said she would dial in if she didn't have a screaming grandchild in her arms. So I guess you can construe that as an apology.
So she is spending more time with her family. So I haven't done anything about it at the moment. I'm going to put something on Facebook. Does anybody know of anybody that you think would volunteer to be the booking clerk? And if there's anybody in the village who's watching who'd like to find out about it, please let me know. In the meantime, I'll put something on Facebook and notices on the notice boards as well. And as soon as we find somebody, they can. Sarah will train them up, and then they can take over.
We have time on our side with that appointment in the current climate.
There isn't all that much to do at the moment.
No, not a lot to do, really.
Yeah. Okay. Has anybody got anything else they'd like to say about that? We did last week record our grateful thanks to Sarah for all the hard work that she's done since she's been the booking clerk. All right, 5.3 is to consider reparation of village hall windows. I think that should be repair, but Steve is
wrong word. Should be repair. Yeah. No culpa.
Yeah, Richard Wantner is going to be filling up the wood where it needs looking at and then painting it because it is now getting a bit weather beaten. So this is a retrospective. Is everybody in agreement with that?
We're having it done, Chair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Unanimous. The next two items are finance. As you know, we have suffered because we've basically got no income from the village hall at the moment. And we've also suffered a big blow because the largest users of the hall were the preschool, who have that sadly folded. So we're now got a terrible financial situation, which has temporarily been made better because Steve has got us a grant, a government grant to help us keep going. But the figures are not brilliant. So Steve, would you like to continue?
Yeah, I've circulated the spreadsheet. I mean, it's not in any great detail. There's a lot of ballpark in there, but essentially, it looks like over assume it to the end of the calendar year, the end of December, it looks like given the shortfall in income, but with that, we haven't had to spend out so much, for example, on electricity, gas, and water. Phil did remind me that there's a standing charge on gas and electricity. So I've made an assumption that our costs are halved for electricity. We haven't had a meter reading lately, so I'll have to get Rich to do that. But I'm thinking in it up to the end of this this calendar year, December, we're probably about £1,000 down, which isn't as bad as it could have been, as we might have expected.
Does that
But-
include the grant, Steve?
Does that include what, Dave?
The grant?
No, the grant is there. It's pushed to the side for the moment.
Okay.
But with preschool going, it's going to be a big shortfall. Obviously, they were responsible for half of our revenue, half of our hiring revenue. So there's going to be a big shortfall from preschool. So really, I think you can just, I think you can assume now that if we're not actually going to make any money on hiring alone, if you could actually compare that with cleaning, if the hires are 1 hour. I mean, the grant is covering us over this. It's £10,000, so that will get us over the next couple of years probably. But like Russell said, the medium to long term position isn't looking that rosy.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with the grant, I just wouldn't worry about 2021. I mean, we are where we are. We've got a grant that's going to cover us as to where we are. That's where we are. I also, I mean, hopefully the user groups will start again, or will have started again by April. I mean, I hope we will, as a country, be through this dreadful situation, and I think that's a reasonable assumption. So we are going to have a shortfall, but
that is for the historical society, not in it. That's virtually nothing's at stake.
Yeah, I mean, and
20%.
there's probably some others, but
Yeah.
I mean, my view would be,
Yeah, sorry.
my view would be not to worry about it at this stage. I mean, that is actually why parish councils have got reserves to see us through this. I think the challenge that we've got is really. Sorry?
It's going to be from 2022 onwards.
Yeah, well, if we look at from 21-22, i.e. from April of next year, we will probably have, half our normal income. It will be the total of the regular users, about £5,000. So we're going to be about £5,000 a year short, but that is nearly 6 months away. And I think what our challenge will be to see if there are people who want to, come on with a regular hire of the hall.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the purpose of this item on the agenda is to inform the decision that the parish council is going to have to make next, as it develops its budget, towards the end of the year. And I have to say, my attitude would be not to worry about it. I think I will come on to a comment about the COVID charges, but if we're looking at the 30,000 foot view, I'd say, don't worry, this year we've got the grant. Some of that will probably be left for next year anyway, but whatever. Let's, next year will be where we've got to decide whether we're going to replace it. My recommendation to the parish council would be, we'll try and replace it. If we do, we do. If we don't, we have to use reserves for a year. And then we'd reconsider the charges and everything from April 22 onwards, rather than April 21. I mean, it is such a bizarre situation. I really wouldn't go into that. I mean, and just to turn back to Steve's point about, whether we're running the hall at a loss. I mean, I did very quickly check the charges, and before 6 p.m. it is indeed 11.25 an hour. After 6 p.m. it's 13.50 an hour, and Saturday, Sunday, and bank holidays at any time it's 13.50 an hour. So Steve is right in a sense. Well, he's right, not in a sense, that if we're letting it out during the day, there would be a an extra cost to us. But my view would be that we would say to trusted users like the Sunday school, you've got to do the disinfecting for the school, and they're doing that. So that's fine. We don't have a cost there. Users that are unknown, I would personally put a £12.50 surcharge, COVID charge on top,
Absolutely.
and say, you know, that's what was going to cost us in addition to the normal income that we would get from the hall. And that would be a special charge for as long as we've got to do this. But, you know, that's just my view, and I'm a non-voting member here. But anyway, that's my tuppence worth.
I think that was about sixpence worth. Does anybody else have anything to say? At the moment, we're not discussing the higher charges, we're just discussing the financial situation.
Yeah, and obviously matters arising from that. So it does give us a bit of scope. And I'd like to kind of pitch back in on that and saying that if Sunday school are actually cleaning down before them and after them, is that something that we should ask all of our users that we take on to do?
That was what I was going to propose, actually, in item 6.2.
Okay, I mean, it fits somewhere between the two.
The thing about Sunday school is that they're basically only using a few chairs, and they're only using a small part of the hall, which is fairly easy to wipe down. And they've only got a small number of children anyway, so they're quite easy to keep track of. If we're having, you know, larger, if the six people rule is scrapped eventually, and there are more people, it's obviously going to be harder for groups to actually make sure that they have sanitized everything.
But in that situation, then we like Phil said, we would be charging a supplement, wouldn't we, for the cleaning?
Yeah, I think charge the cost of the cleaning.
At the moment, the rules, the booking regulation, COVID booking regulations say that every group is responsible for sanitizing afterwards. Really, we need a register as well, so that people tick that they have in fact done it. Just basically just to make sure that people do it.
Sorry, if I could just add again, I mean, as we're on this, I mean, I think for our regular users, they are trustworthy.
Agreed.
And you could say to them, you know, if you say you are cleaning this before and after, and by the way, this includes, you know, the loos if they're going into the loos, which are a particular.
It includes everything that's touched.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not so comfortable with external hires where I don't think we've got the famous Mrs. Oh, well, I must mention her name, must I? As this is being recorded and as a public meeting, but you know, you have got users. You really don't know who they are, and you have no comeback on them. And with those, I do think that we ought to make the cleaning charge.
We do have a comeback on them in the because they've agreed to the rules and regulations by hiring.
Yeah, but you don't know whether someone's wiped down, do you?
No.
I think that's a very sensible way forward, actually. Tried and trusted groups, we know, the others charge.
We'll segue smoothly into 6.2 now. And what I was going to propose was that, as Phil said, regular user groups have the choice of doing the cleaning, the sanitizing and cleaning before and after themselves. And there will be a register which they will have to tick to confirm that they have done it. And if there is any comeback, the comeback will be on them because they've actually done it. Alternatively, if they don't want to do that, then they will have to pay the cleaning, the COVID surcharge. And as for one-off hirers as well, who are not regular hirers, I mean, Anna and Yoga and the regular people come under the trusted people, but the people that we don't know, I think we will have to charge them a COVID surcharge, and it will not only be, it'll have to be for the cleaning before and afterwards. In that case, because we cannot, 100% trust everybody to do it, can we? So it would be more than, it would be 2 hours cleaning.
Well, then that's the charge that we put on external users then.
Yep.
No, hang on. I don't think you need to do two.
No.
We're
If
gonna
there's
have-
a trusted user that's been in before,
Yeah, trust users.
then you don't need to clean before an external
No.
hirer.
Yeah,
And if it's been a non-trusted user that's been in before, then there will have been a COVID clean afterwards anyway. So I think either way,
Well,
you
no,
only
there
need to
wouldn't.
clean after.
so what you're saying is that groups will be responsible for sanitizing before they start their meeting, and we will clean afterwards. Phil?
Effectively, yes. But I mean, the reality of that logic is that the place should always be clean when someone comes in.
Yes.
It will either just have been cleaned by the by a previous, well, a group, or by the cleaner if it's a non-trusted group. And presumably we're going to have a regular once a week usual clean anyway. So yeah, I would have thought that would have been sufficient. Otherwise it will become, if you do a double charge, 25 quid surcharge, it will make it unviable for a lot of people.
If we get any bookings at all.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, we are quite cheap compared to high charges elsewhere.
I think the point here is the cleanliness of the hall,
yeah.
and the more responsibility we can put on the users, the better, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the point here is not to kill anybody, basically, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but how do you talk about comeback? Where does that comeback come from? We just have to make sure that we are obeying the rules that the government lay down.
Yeah.
And that is cleaning. But we've already discussed user groups, and I think that's absolutely true. We aren't getting any external bookings at the moment, but as and when we do, yes, we have to make sure the hall is clean before, and we have to make sure it's clean afterwards, be that before the next group come in. So we will talk about a surcharge for the booking. There has to be reasonable, but we just have to make sure that we are essentially covered, that we're doing everything right. But we have to be sensible about it. And there has to be onus on the people who are using the hall as well. Everyone should be aware now of what they have to do.
Yeah. But then you see the play areas, it says quite clearly before and after you use the equipment, you should sanitize it. And that worked for a while, but now there's been reports of people just not bothering anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, effectively, they are not trusted users. I mean, I've seen it. You look at the fish ponds, for example, and the kids are having a lovely time and all the rest of it, and they are running from piece of equipment to piece of equipment, as you expect kids to do. And short of standing there and saying, "Thou shalt not use this equipment until you've wiped it down with an antiseptic wipe," which is just impractical. There's nothing that you can do about it. I mean, people do have to take a certain amount of risk on themselves. You can tell them what to do. It's, horse to water sort of stuff, really, isn't it? But it is different in the village hall because that's a controlled environment.
Right. So Dave, what would you propose then? Just spell it out. What you're proposing.
Well, we've already discussed what our usual user groups would do.
Yeah,
we have to trust them.
Yeah, we're talking about people that we don't know, casual hirers.
Well, we're talking about a search. If we need to have a surcharge at the beginning, £12.50, whatever it's for the hour cleaning that we could do. I mean, we're talking about bookings that we haven't got.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as and when we get the bookings, but we need.
But we have to have a policy in place, though.
Right. Well, then we
could have a booking tomorrow.
Booking, we charge cleaning charge.
Yes.
So
and
the hall.
And when do we do the cleaning then? We clean before and we clean afterwards.
Well, no, because then you put the onus on the people who have booked the hall, be them internal or external. You say it's your responsibility under these COVID rules that the whole country's under. You have a responsibility to clean the hall when you've finished.
And that's what the situation is at the moment.
Yeah, but it means when the next group come in, you know, we as a village hall committee have put the onus on the users to make
Yeah.
sure it's clean. You've got to be practical here. I mean,
Well, that's the situation at the moment. The situation at the moment is that we clean before any booking, and
They clean it.
they clean afterwards.
Why don't you put a surcharge on of £12 as was suggested, and see how that goes? If there's any reaction to it in terms of people who are wanting to hire the hall, if it's being a discouragement to them hiring, then you would say review it. But I mean, it seems to me that at the moment, if you're saying that we're fairly low in terms of the charges we have for the hall, why not put a surcharge on and leave it at that? At least we're covered both ways then.
I think what Russell was saying earlier, Keith, is you need a policy about when it should be cleaned. And to take Phil's point from earlier, if everybody cleans or has it cleaned after they use it, then it's clean for the next people coming in.
Yeah, but if you take the view that okay, the likelihood is that it's going to be those from outside that hire the hall that are possibly going to be the culprits that don't clean it. If you want an insurance
And
policy,
so that's the people that we put the surcharge on.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically the situation we are at the moment, except that the unknown users or new users will automatically have the cleaning done and will be charged for it.
Yeah, I mean, to take my earlier point, we can't subsidise people from outside the village to come in and use the hall, and it's costing the village money. That's just wrong.
Yeah, I think the other point is you can't actually police it. So I mean,
No, that's right.
you're not going to know if the
That's why I was worried about trusting unknown people to actually
more likely to know that the user groups in the village have cleaned, because there'll be people telling on people if they haven't. Whereas outside groups, you're not going to know. You're not going to go in there and sort of go around, does this smell of cleaning or has it been, you know, you're not going to know, are you? Because most of it's going to be wipes and wiping down areas, you know, unless you've got some form of chemicals thing that you can tell whether it's been done or not, you're not going to know, are you? So I still think you need to have cleaners in to do it.
Yeah. So basically, it's the situation as we are at the moment, in that that the hall will be clean. It will be left clean from the previous user, or the once a week clean that it gets.
Can I just make a point, Russell? There's two types of cleaning.
Yeah.
There's the cleaning that we currently expect people to do, which is effectively tidying the place, making sure it's all looking clean. And then there is COVID cleaning.
Yeah,
and
I'm talking about COVID, which is the tidying up and sanitizing.
Yeah, but what I would say is that there's currently an obligation on all users to leave the place clean in the sense of, well, just normal non-COVID cleaning.
Yes.
And what we're saying is, but then for non-trusted users, we have to have a COVID clean of the place. Yes. But we don't want Stacey to be spending her time emptying the bins and sweeping up and doing all of that. Yeah. You need her to spend the time going around wiping all the, the loos, the taps, the chairs, that sort of thing. Yeah. Oh, and incidentally, they should leave chairs out if they've used them. Not put them back on the racks, because then Stacey will know which ones she's got to wipe down. Yeah.
Right, that seems sensible. So it's a slight revision then to our existing situation, which is basically a mandatory COVID cleaning charge on unknown users.
And that we're saying that will be 1 hour of Stacey's time.
Yeah.
At the end of the hire.
Yes.
At the end of the hire. Now,
that makes sense.
Now, what can I put the position? What if Stacey couldn't actually get in before the end of the private hire and the beginning of a regular hire?
Right. That would have to be special circumstances. The only thing I can see where that's happening is Fridays. because they're the only ones, and possibly some Sundays when there's two parties, but there aren't going to be any parties for a long time. But Fridays, you've got school finishing at 3 o'clock, then you would have Pilates, and then you would have the children's dance class, and then you'd have the bowl. So that it would basically be impossible to clean between.
Yeah, but aren't they all trusted users?
They're all trusted, yeah.
So that it doesn't apply then. But
the only time would be if there were two parties booked on the same day, virtually back to back, like a morning party and an afternoon party, when it would physically be impossible to do it.
I'm just thinking that maybe we, as part of the acceptance of the booking, we should check that Stacey is available to do a COVID clean after the private booking.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah. Does anybody else have anything else that they would add to that? So,
are we providing the cleaning materials?
yes, yeah. They have all the sanitizer. We've got sanitizer and disinfectant and antibac and everything like that. I don't think we would allow them to use the floor steamer, and otherwise that would get broken. So yeah, so basically,
wouldn't be
able to sanitize the floor themselves, but they could clean the floor of it.
So can I just summarize what I think you're voting on and put me right if it's not correct? What we're saying is that we give trusted users the choice between cleaning themselves, cleaning before and afterwards.
Yes.
And we give non-trusted users, we put a fee of a 1 hour COVID clean after the event.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that it? Is that what you want to vote on? Because I think it's going to be unanimous. But
yeah,
who am I to say?
I think that's it. Yes. Also, yeah, regular users can, if they want and don't want to do the cleaning, can have the choice of paying.
Yeah, sure. Give them the choice. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yes, I think that's.
Is that accepted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone happy?
Yeah. It's unanimous.
And back to Phil's point about the forthcoming budget that we need to set for next year. I take it that happy and Phil making the point that maybe we ought to be looking 12 months down the line when we get hopefully a more normal situation. Are the committee suggesting that there should be no change to higher fees for this year?
What do they hire us think?
At the moment, as we're not using it in that, I think the fees should be kept as they are and sort of reviewed in April next. Pick up a bit.
Yeah, we missed our, most of that, Carol, because your sound was a bit wonky.
Oh, okay. I think to keep the fees as they are for the time being and rethink it in April next year when hopefully things will have picked up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keith, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable. I'd say I think they should be kept under review. I mean, again, you just got to compare it with other local facilities and what they're charging. And, you know, if we are, you know, a lot cheaper than other places, then, you know, maybe we just use that as an advertising mark and, but, you know, put a small percentage on if we feel we need to. You know, I think the last thing you want to do is put a large percentage.
No, yeah. Yeah, and as a sort of a commercial user, hirer, what's your view?
Yeah, I think like they're saying, just to check what, I don't actually know what the price is of like Hanslope, but just to kind of check in with what else is kind of the going price. I think it's tricky because you want to keep it at a good price because it's going to entice more people to use it. But then equally, I think you probably could put the price up a little bit. So it's tricky. Yeah.
Price it up.
Yeah, but if everyone else is loads more, then you probably could put it up a little bit. So yeah. If it means you can't use the hall, I think it's worth putting it up. That's the thing. If it's not going to be used.
Long term, the only other option would be to put out the preset from the council tax that the parish council gets. So everybody will have to pay, not very much, but everybody in the village would have to pay that. And the people that don't use the village hall probably moan about it. But that's just the fact of life, really.
I think if it's comparable with other halls with similar equipment and space, and we're cheaper than that, then, you know, we've got the market where we can actually increase it, you know, if we feel we need to.
I think
I'd like to
Carol
suggest
came
that
up with a
the grant. Sorry,
We're
Dave.
going to look at this possibly in April, yeah?
Yeah.
Or we're not talking about putting the prices up now, are we?
No.
Definitely not.
But when we're talking about when we set the budget, Dave, so we have to make an assumption when we set the budget, and we either make the assumption that the fees will remain the same, but obviously the income will go down by 50%. But I'd like to suggest that the grant that we've got at £10,000 makes, if we hadn't got that grant, I think we might be having a different conversation, but we've got that grant will tide us over.
Yeah.
I mean, really, this isn't actually a discussion for the Village Hall Committee. It's really one for the Parish Council, because the Village Hall Committee can say, look, we don't want to put the prices up. So that means that we're going to be about, 5,000 short in 21-22. And the Parish Council then has to take a view as to whether that's an acceptable thing to do, to take the risk of finding a new user of the hall, or bearing the cost out of reserves. My personal view is we should take that risk for a year because, it's difficult circumstances. But it's a Parish Council decision, really, as to whether, all of the councillors are happy to take that charge, which effectively comes out of the Parish Council reserves, rather than anything else. Or
sorry, Phil, I mostly agree with you, but I think it is the position of this committee to make a recommendation to the Parish Council.
Yes, no, and I'm saying if you make a recommendation,
yes,
that you're going to not put the prices up, and that there's going to be a £5,000 deficit, it will be the Parish Council's decision as to whether to accept that recommendation or not. That's the point I make.
But this committee should act or can make a recommendation. Like you say, it's the Parish Council's final decision.
Correct.
But this committee can, and I think should, make a recommendation.
Yeah, we're not disagreeing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You mean now or in the future, Steve, that we should make?
Well, every time there's a budget, Russell, I think the Village Hall Committee. This is one of the factors that predetermine what we do in the budget.
I mean, what Carol has suggested is that the rates are reviewed for next April, but now is not the time to do it. I mean, there's so much change and difficulty in the country. It's really hard to come to a decision now. So Carol's suggestion is that we defer any decision till April. If come April the situation looks a little bit different, and we think that things are getting back to normal, and we can afford to put prices up to stay in line with market, and as Keith and Anna have said, well, fine, but that's not for now, in my view. I don't have a vote.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that basically. So I think that if we are to make a recommendation for budgeting purposes to the parish council now, then it would be that we will keep the higher fees as they are until at least April, and then review the situation in April.
Yeah.
That's agreed by everyone, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Voting members?
Non-voting members.
Not non-voting members. They could have their view.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Do you think Russell needs to declare a pecuniary interest in this?
In what? Like what?
Sorry.
It's very mischievous, Chair.
No, no.
Well, as you rightly said earlier, Phil, it's not a pecuniary interest because it's not the decision of this committee. So it's not actually pecuniary.
That's not what pecuniary means, and you know it, Steve.
Good time to move on, Chair.
Maybe we could get sponsorship with the village hall. It could be the Red Bull Castlethorpe Village Hall. For
Can we all stop using big words, please?
Right.
Yes.
Any other business? There's one thing I forgot to mention actually in matters arising is that the hall and also the sports ground now have one of the COVID app QR codes outside. So not outside, but in the doors as you go inside. So everybody is supposed to check in with those who've got phones capable of using the COVID app, and otherwise they have to check in using pen and paper.
Have we got a QR reader?
No, you just use the app and you just
Use the app on your phone. You've got the NHS app on your phone, Steve.
Automatically reads it.
Oh, yeah, I've got it, but I thought you had to scan something.
You
No,
do.
Delete it, Steve.
You
No
go.
more Big Brother for us, mate.
Yeah, you go into the COVID app and you press log into a venue, and it automatically scans the QR code and records that you're there.
It takes the geocode.
No,
The-
it just takes the QR code off the.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay, Steve, it doesn't work in Kenilworth Road.
Nothing like in Kenilworth Road, Dave.
I know.
Lovely.
I actually went down to MK Dons to the MK Dons store today to pick up my free away T-shirt, replica shirt, because of not being able to go to the matches. And they've got the QR code, and I couldn't find the thing on my phone to scan it.
Oh. Anyway,
I hope you didn't buy the shirt then.
Oh, it's free.
Oh, of course it was.
Russell, at the last meeting, was the committee updated on the defibrillator installation?
No, it wasn't.
Do you want to say a few words, or Steve?
I don't actually know anything about it, so
Yeah, I'll say a little bit about it. We have defibrillators. We're waiting on me to make a phone call to the electrician to book a date for installation. There'll be one defibrillator. Sorry about the big word, Dave. The village hall.
Don't know what you're talking
It's
about,
not easy
Steve.
for me to say. One at the, well, do you ever, mate?
No.
One at the village hall, one at the sports ground, and after they've been installed, we'll get some training in place. So anybody, Anna, I don't know whether you'd be interested in on behalf of your group being defibrillated. I can't even say the word trained.
Just say AED.
AED trained, or any of the other more hectic users groups. There will be training made available.
Well, I'm already AED trained anyway. So will my hospital one cover me, or will I have to do another one?
I think this is common sense.
No, Carol, I mean, you know, I mean, I've done it as well. These things are meant to be used without any training. I think if you've done the training as you've done it, that's just a you know, an added bonus.
Yeah.
So you know, and so yeah, if Richard's going to do training for those of us that, you know, can, great. If you've already been trained or don't want to, I think that's also fine. But it would be useful
Yeah,
if
I
one
think
person
that's
in each
fine,
user
Carol.
group, you know, if they can, were to attend the training, I think.
Yeah, because most of them tell you what to do anyway. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And they won't work, they won't discharge if it recognises the heartbeat. So you're not
yeah,
going to
that's,
go
that's
zapping people who shouldn't be.
yeah.
You shouldn't laugh, Sheila. That'd be a
Sorry.
serious thing.
I know, I'm sorry.
I've got one thing. I've got one thing under AOB. I've had an email saying that they don't think artificial grass is a good thing for the village hall garden, and it's likely to fade. I responded that the decision hasn't been made. We're just getting costs at the moment, and when the costs are in, given that it's likely to be above £2,000, we'll have to go out to competitive tender anyway. Then a decision will be made as to whether we use artificial grass or not, and it will be made in due process at parish council meeting.
Steve, to help inform that decision, could you ask Richard Wantner how much it would cost to just keep that cut? I mean, if you're spending £2,000 capital and it's going to cost, I don't know, £10 a cut for, you know, 10 cuts a year, that's 10 years worth of Richard Wantner, for example, which I would say is too long a payback period. Or even RTM when they're doing everything, and they might even do it for even less, given that they've got the mowers and everything going round.
Yeah, I'll do that. Phil.
Yeah, I don't think they can get their mowers into the back, can they?
They probably got. I'm sure they must have kind of smaller mowers that they can take down a path.
Yeah, they have, Steve.
Yeah.
Right, does anybody else have anything else they want to raise of note? I don't think that we can specify a date for the next meeting, and it's going to have to be as required because things keep changing so quickly. So if everybody's happy with that, is anybody not happy with them having a specified date? No. With that, then I declare the meeting closed.
Oh, can I just raise a few more things so Dave misses a bit of the football?
I've got the radio on, Steve. Can't afford Sky like you lot.
Oh, we
come
can't
over and watch
afford
it,
either.
Fiver.
Forget it.
Isn't it nice having Everton above Liverpool in the
Yeah,
table?
it is, isn't it?
Don't rise, David, don't rise.
No chance. Oh, 3 away shirts, that's all I can say.
Shall I stop the YouTube feed at this point, Chair?
Yeah, and I'll stop the Facebook.